Hello, everyone. Welcome to Game Junk Prototype, episode 11, recording on May 8th, 2020. We're going to be talking about the huge, epic Xbox One Series X gameplay reveal that aired yesterday. My name is Frank.
My name is Sean.
My name's Andrew.
So, yesterday marked the dawn of a new era. We had seen some, pictures of consoles, but we hadn't seen any games. Yesterday, we officially saw some games, so we're going to be talking about that. What we played a little bit. I haven't done much, but Sean has really stepped up his game this week, so he'll have some stuff to share.
Sure.
And it's kind of crazy. It's snowing right now. I don't know if it is where you guys are, but in Welland, it's snowing.
There was a little bit of snow here, yeah.
I don't recall it snowing this late into May ever in my life.
I don't either, but it's probably happened.
No way. This is unprecedented territory. Anyway, I'm ready to get into the news unless you guys have anything you want to add.
Not really, facebook.com/gamejunk.
I swear to God, I was going to do that at the end of the show. And I was thinking, should I do it at the beginning of the show? Because I keep forgetting to talk about it.
I mean, why not? Throw it in there.
Let's do it. Actually, you know what? It's going to relate to something I talk about in the Xbox presentation. So facebook.com/gamejunk. Or is it Game Podcast?
I think just Game Junk, yeah.
Game Junk Podcast on Twitter.
No Instagram yet. I mean, maybe that's something we got to look into. I don't know. I haven't thought about it.
No TikTok yet?
I mean, I could easily share a photo of a retro gem every once in a while. I have lots of video game stuff to take photos of, so definitely a possibility.
Perfect. Let's do it.
All right, so please check us out on social media. Sean is at Film Junk on Twitter. Andrew is at My Angry Commute, and more importantly, Equilibrium Systems. Is that the official?
That's the website, but Equilibrium Sys is the Twitter handle.
All right, Equilibrium Sys. Get on it, follow it, unfollow everything else.
Definitely.
Just those things. It's all you need for all your gaming news. And yeah, you'll love it. Of course, we're doing it. So Xbox One Series X inside Xbox, which they also said is going to get rebranded next month to something new. That's going to be a monthly. Was it Xbox 2020 or something like that?
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
That's going to take over for revealing new information. So I was really excited for this, and I'm sure other people were too. Just some new stuff going on where everything's kind of been the same old in the gaming landscape.
I mean, Frank was sending us messages like 15 minutes before, like, you guys ready to go? You got the stream up?
Yeah,
do this.
I thought it was a big deal. You guys don't even give a shit.
Oh, you got to work and stuff. Sometimes it's hard. But yeah. I was kind of excited, but I was a little bit like, I didn't know how big the whole thing was going to be. It didn't feel like a huge scale thing. And I would say in the end, it wasn't.
No. I mean, let's get into this right now. Microsoft has responded to criticisms regarding the stream. I didn't have anything major to criticize. Like, I was kind of surprised that they had to do that, but I guess it does make sense a little bit that they were touting it as a gameplay reveal video, and there really wasn't much gameplay at all.
And it also is, they're saying like next gen, Series X gameplay reveal, and literally every trailer had a little like disclaimer at the bottom saying, this isn't really Xbox Series X. This is what we expect it to look like, or this is what we're, aiming for. So it was obviously run on PCs and then with the target specs of a Series X.
Huh, I missed that. How did I miss that? What was I doing?
I don't think all of them said that though. I think just some of them,
Oh.
right?
Well, either way.
There was some
And-
disclaimer. It kind of changed from game to game, but yeah, I mean, like, to me, it's like I get why people are upset on that level, and I kind of agree. I was expecting, particularly the Assassin's Creed one, to actually show gameplay, and it felt very cinematic. But I think with Microsoft, what they're trying to say is, hey, this is your first look at games running on the hardware, right? So it's not just, a cinematic that was outsourced to some animation company. Like, this is actually running on the hardware. So, is it a good sense of what the games are? Maybe not. But is it a sense of what the next gen could look like? Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna. I guess we're jumping in right there. I would say that I was surprised at how little gameplay they showed, especially since they were actually like pre-advertising it, like in the stream, like coming up next.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Stay tuned. And like then they showed basically nothing. I was quite surprised by that, but
Yeah, I agree. Basically nothing.
yeah.
One thing I will say I did like. Sorry, Sean?
Assassin's Creed thing was going to be more of like an actual guided playthrough of part of a level or something like that, right?
I think everyone did, and that's why they responded with something. So, yeah, I wasn't too excited about anything in particular in the stream, but I would say I did like that it was a lot of new stuff I hadn't heard about. It didn't feel like all sequels, a lot of new ideas. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Some new IPs and games that I wasn't that familiar with. So I'll give it some kudos for that. Got to give my kudos where appropriate. If I'm gonna bash the shit out of this thing for the rest of
Start off on a plus and then straight downhill.
I'm not gonna bash it, but let's get into the first thing, which was Bright Memory Infinite. And apparently there's already a game called Bright Memory on Steam. Like, there's a precursor, or like this is a sequel in some ways to a game that already exists.
I was listening to a podcast. I think it was the Game Informer podcast, maybe, and they were saying that this guy put out that first game and it was supposed to be episodic on Steam, and then it only got like 1 or 2 episodes in, and then either got pulled down or nothing else has been developed for it. So I don't really know. I haven't looked into it, but
yeah, a brief search there is revealing something similar, that it was episodic and first released in January, 2019. So, I mean, I thought the gameplay looked pretty good, actually. I thought it had some interesting first-person shooter mechanics, and I was intrigued. I was definitely surprised to hear that it was developed by one person, which is really tough for me to believe.
Oh yeah.
I'm not denying it. I haven't done that much research, but for one person to do all of this seems
unbelievable.
Bright Memory was developed by Zhang FYQD Jing Chang using Unreal Engine 4, with development work taking place in the developer's spare time. So, I mean, everything is kind of suggesting that, but hey,
that's crazy.
I'll go there again. Kudos if you did that on your own.
I was going to say, like, if he did that all on his own, this project has been in development for like 10 years, and he has only made what we saw in that demo, because everything we saw there was a lot of work.
Yes.
A lot of work.
I didn't go to the next section. Stolen assets controversy.
Oh.
In 2019, Zhang, this is on Wikipedia, this is what they're saying. Zhang admitted on a post on Sina Weibo that he has used some enemy models without acquiring a license and modified them for use in the game, but did not specify. He announced that he will use money from the game sale to hire an art designer and reach out to original rights holders. So Anyway,
mean,
not sure
even-
exact. I thought there was going to be a ton of information out there when I did a quick search for this. If someone did it on their own, and I was like, wow, people must be talking about this. This is extremely impressive, but not a lot out there on it. So it's kind of a mystery. I am intrigued, but yeah, we'll see.
I mean, I hadn't heard of the game previously, so it definitely came out of nowhere for me. But I always think there's got to be some people doing contract work. Like, is he doing the sound design? Is he doing the music? Like, it's definitely hard to believe somebody doing every single aspect of that. But if he is, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Sean.
No, I thought it looked good. Not too much else to say. I mean, generally, with all these trailers that we're going to be talking about, I thought I like that they're new IPs. I like that they were sort of unexpected things I didn't know about, but they all kind of seem to fall into a genre that I feel like has been done before. Like I didn't see a ton that were like completely brand new, never seen this kind of game before. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
I mean, to be fair, now that I'm looking at it, I would say it's probably half, new games completely versus sequels or kind of related to IPs, but they still all seemed kind of new. And I don't have too much else to say about that game. Do you guys have anything else?
I was just gonna say it definitely gave me like a Crisis vibe. I don't know like how much kind of impact they took from or how much inspiration they took from that game, but it definitely really I almost thought it was going to be some sort of Crisis spin-off.
So did I.
Just like darker. But yeah, I also thought it looked really good. Like the fact that he's got, range combat, melee combat, vehicle driving, cinematic moments in the cars, like with almost like car combat. Like that's incredible if he did that all by himself. So yeah, hats off. I mean, I'll believe it when it's actually on store shelves and fully playable, but if it's going to be just him still, hopefully this inclusion in this trailer thing means that maybe Microsoft is throwing some money his way so he can actually hire some people to get it done in a reasonable amount of time. But yeah, it looks good. It looks promising.
Well, I might as well say it when you said, is this Crisis? What is this? And I had a thought watching this. I don't know what you guys think. Maybe I'm just, missing something completely obvious, which could be possible. Why do they not say the name of the game at the start of the trailer? Like all of these like movie trailers now are going, and especially in an online environment, they kind of do these weird blurbs before the trailer or like a condensed highlight version before they show the actual trailer, like mini ad before the trailer. But like I would want to be cementing the images of this game with the title while I'm watching it. And I don't understand why no one says the name of their game first. It's such a weird thing.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. Like I was thinking that too. And like, you would think for something like a Halo or like a big name IP, there's a like a sort of a surprise to the reveal, and it's like you're trying to guess what is this, what could this be? But a lot of these were unknown IPs, so I don't know why you would do it that way. And yeah, I mean, it really doesn't make a lot of sense. But
especially looking back, like I forget half of the titles to the game. I'm watching all the stuff. I don't even know what I'm looking at. I'm not making connections with stuff. And you want the whole point is for people to remember these games by the time this thing is done. So I would be pushing to have the name of the game. And who care? Another thing I don't get with video games, movies to some degree, why it's always the publisher and developer first. Like publisher,
no one cares.
Especially for new games, you're going to get your reputation by people playing the game and then finding out who made it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do not show that stuff first. It's like this weird following in the footsteps of movie trailers thing that I don't get. Just get. Obviously, games are different than movies. Like, take advantage of or know the nature of gamers when you're making these trailers. I don't know why I've never thought of it before, but every time I'm like, do I know what this is? Kind of like Huck was saying, is this Crisis? Is this something else? Tell me what it is. Who cares? You're going to tell me at the end anyway. Why all this mystery?
So I put some thought into this, like probably around last E3. And for me, like I think the sweet spot is if the title is at the front and the beginning. I mean, the front and the beginning and the end.
I agree.
Because if it's just at the beginning, the name is meaningless to me. And by the end, I've forgotten it.
Totally.
Especially if it's something new. So then if you don't have it at the end to remind you, it's gone. And likewise at the end, if you have it just at the end, the whole time you're watching, like you said, you're like, what is going on here? You're more trying to guess what it is than paying close enough attention to what's going on. So I think if you did like a quick hit at the beginning and then, something at the end with maybe like a target release date and who developed it, just like a quick screen. Like, I don't know why there's so much, like there's a trailer editor guy named Derek Liu or something. Yeah, something like that. And I think he actually did Drinkbox's trailers. He's pretty well-known trailer guy. And he says similar things, like, don't waste your time with these big title cards at the beginning. Like, you're just going to turn people off. You have all these title cards at the beginning that are meaningless. And, they take up the first 30 seconds and you haven't shown people anything in 30 seconds. Why are you wasting everyone's time? Like you were saying with all the like stinger titles of like whatever they're, GameSpot says blah or whatever, like who cares? But so I think, just circling back, I think definitely like a quick hit at the front and a quick hit at the back would be ideal to like cement the title in your head.
Oh yeah, of course, completely agree. Me and Derek, we park our cars in the same garage here.
I feel like the devil's advocate side to that is like they're particularly more with movies, and maybe this is them trying to copy movies, but I think there's always this idea of trying to tell a story, even within a commercial or a trailer, right? So I think the idea maybe is to try and draw people in with a bit of mystery and a bit of like, oh, what is this? And get their attention that way, which, for something that you wouldn't know what it is anyway, maybe that helps. But I do feel like I couldn't remember half the titles of these games after I watched the conference or the video anyway. So I don't know.
Oh, you just said it. You couldn't remember half of the title. All right. Next game, which I remember because it's a sequel, Dirt 5. And I mean, to me, I've never gotten into the Dirt series specifically. I've played them a little bit, I guess, in particular the VR update for one of them, but not for that long. Got to be honest, I'm actually surprised Microsoft put it in there. Like, to me, it looks like a Horizon clone in a lot of ways, and they're borrowing a lot of stuff from Horizon. So I thought it was weird. If I was Microsoft, I might not have even put it in.
Unless Horizon's going to slip out of the launch window.
Oh, I don't think it is in the launch window. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I think like in terms of alternating, they're due for Forza 8. Before the next Horizon. So just seems, I mean, it looked okay. I would much rather play a Horizon game based on the little I've played of both series. I'm sure there are like this, it's been going on for a long time, so I'm sure there are fans of the series, but I don't know. Not a lot to say about this one.
One thing we didn't, I don't know if we said this at the beginning of the discussion, but these are all third-party games, right?
Oh, that's a good point. At the beginning of the thing, they said the first thing they talked about was all first-party updates are going to come in July. They said July will be when we update you on all our first-party titles. And I think someone, I can't remember, I don't think it was Phil Spencer, I don't remember who, said there was a quote, our goal remains to launch Xbox One Series X and the new Halo this holiday season.
Yeah,
I read that somewhere.
Halo is a launch title, so that would be pretty big if it happens.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen, but we'll see. I mean, they must know they need something like that, so I think they need something like that more than PlayStation needs something like that.
Yeah.
So probably will happen. I take it back in some capacity. Do you guys have anything else to say about Dirt 5? Fans of the series, played it?
Never played any of them.
I have not
So no.
played. I'm always sort of simulation style racing games. I'm always a little less interested than more party style arcadey racers.
Okay. This one seemed more arcadey from what I can tell. So I don't know if it has both. It might even have both modes.
It seemed like a mix of the two. I couldn't really get a sense of where it falls, but
it made me think. I miss Project Gotham Racing. I used to love that series.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, next game was, and Huck has a lot to say about this one. Scorn, which is, I don't even know what kind of game it is.
No info at all.
To me, it was the most like memorable trailer, just in terms of its weirdness and phallic nature. And I mean, clearly, I don't know if it's like legit in like using the artwork of H.R. Giger, or if they're just copying it completely. But it's undeniable. So
oh yeah,
I didn't do any research after the fact to see if they are specifically, I don't know if you license that or how you get access to it, because like Alien, in the original Alien, there was a credit, right, for H.R. Geiger, like inspired by his artworks or
well, I think he actually did work on the first Alien, if I'm not mistaken.
So,
but
I don't know how this game is doing in that regard, but again, unless I miss something, I don't know if it's an adventure game, an action game, a shooter. I have no idea.
Yeah, so, it's really unclear.
On Wikipedia, it says directly inspired by the works of H.R. Giger and Zdzislaw Beksiński. Sorry, I'm terrible.
Big skin.
Yeah, I don't know how you. It's kind of a weird idea to. I mean, he's got such a distinctive art style, to just like lift that art style and not. I don't know, how do you quantify that? Like, it's not like you're directly using artwork he has done, but you're copying his style and basically selling your game on it. Like, I don't know how that's not a lawsuit, but
well, and it's so directly tied to the Alien franchise that they're almost indistinguishable.
Yeah,
in my eyes, anyways.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just so it's identical. Like, and here's another example of what we were talking about earlier, where they don't put a title at the beginning. You're watching this and you're like, oh my God, they're making an Alien movie or an Alien game or a Prometheus game. And then it's Scorn and unrelated to anything Alien. And then you're thrown for a loop because, the only thing that might have been different was like the pregnancy stuff or the, the injection of that whatever thing, the phallic looking thing in the guy's mouth or in the girl's mouth, like obviously just like a step back from the face hugger. Like essentially that's what the face hugger did. And like, except it gave it life power or whatever. like it's hard to tell what's going on there, but who knows what kind of game this is? It's not like even.
I think I got some info on that. So, Chin had mentioned that this game's been around for a long time, which I had forgotten, and it was announced in 2014, and there was a Kickstarter, and I'm kind of having some memories of that. And it is a first-person shooter, and one of the images online is from pre-alpha footage or something like that, is like this kind of weird weapon based on that, and it's kind of I'm starting to remember it a bit now, but it is a first-person shooter,
but also obviously a horror game. Like on Wikipedia, it says first-person shooter horror game. So
sure, yeah.
There's actually a Steam page for it with additional trailers and screenshots, and there's like gameplay right on here. I'm watching it right now, and there is definitely first-person gameplay right on the Steam page.
It's weird that there's gameplay footage out there, and yet they didn't use it for the gameplay reveal.
Yeah.
because this one, more than almost any of the others, just felt like random images to me. Still kind of intrigued, but I have got no sense of what the game is from the trailer.
Yeah, this is there's like a 8-minute gameplay trailer and then another 3-minute trailer that's like a cinematic. So, I mean, there's more footage out here than, and I didn't remember this at all. I didn't remember anything about it, but
Yeah, neither did I. But I mean, I'm kind of intrigued by it. It looks interesting. Okay, moving on.
Well, just the Steam page describes it. Scorn is an atmospheric first-person horror adventure game set in a nightmarish universe of odd forms and somber tapestry. So whatever all that means, that's what the game is.
Cool.
The next game was Chorus, a space combat shooter, which, I mean, initially I thought it might be a new Colony Wars game, an old series on PlayStation. It kind of reminded me of that. I mean, I had never heard about it before. It looked kind of interesting though. I was intrigued. There's not a lot of space combat games anymore, and it looked pretty like pretty tight controls. I mean, it's tough to tell from that, but that did have some definite gameplay in it compared to some of the other stuff. So
it looked a little more on rails, more like Star Fox. And at times I thought it was maybe almost like a racing game. Like it looked like you're going through rings or something to, pass through, but maybe that's just like obstacles in it, sort of like Lost Orbit, like a puzzle, dodging game.
I definitely got a Star Fox vibe, and I don't know. I thought I was at least intrigued by it. I'm curious to see what it's all about.
When I first saw the woman, the like lead character woman maxed with the gameplay, I almost thought it was going to be like a Velocity 2X, upgrade 3D version or something.
You know what I thought it was at some point? I thought the character's name is Nara. I thought they said Lara. And for a second, I thought that they were going to, I can't think of any games that have done this, but kind of take a known character and almost reinvent their entire world. Like I thought it was going to be Space Raider or something like that, and taking a character that's well known and like reinventing them in a different genre. What a good idea. Come on.
That is kind of a cool idea.
Trademark it. Trademark that. Right now.
How has that not been done? That seems like a great opportunity when all these companies are, so focused on IPs and using known things. And, another big issue is we talked about with Assassin's Creed that happened to it is like this burnout of doing the same game over and over again. Just reinvent it. Take a character and reinvent the universe in a different genre.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Whew. Might have to edit that one out. That is solid.
I don't really have too much to say about this one. It kind of blended in with some of the other ones. I don't know. Didn't stand out to me.
It looked like there was some sort of like AI spaceship. I don't know if that's ringing any bells, where like somehow she has some connection to the ship that seems to be talking to her somehow. I don't know what the meaning of that is, but
yeah, I mean, story wise, I didn't see anything all that great, but the gameplay that was in the trailer, there's, like I said, hasn't been a game like that in a long time that I can think of. Obviously there's some elements of that in Battlefront, which was just multiplayer. So, at least Battlefront 1. I don't know if there was space battles in Battlefront 2. I really didn't play it all that much.
I think there are.
Yeah.
I think so.
But I don't know. I'm intrigued. Next one is for Huck City here. Madden 21.
Day one purchase.
And I'll probably get it too, but I mean, kind of showed the history of Madden. It was more of a like weird advertisement for Madden than it was showing anything about Madden 21.
I actually skipped almost this entire part because it was just
like EA's had their own thing coming up that they announced, right? EA Play in June or something like that. So
yeah,
Patrick Mahomes was talking about it and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's not a lot to talk about, in my opinion.
Yeah, so the only thing that I kind of noticed at this point in the show was that they were really pushing at the bottom, I think it was left corner of the screen, they were really pushing like the smart delivery. Any games that had smart delivery had this little like tag at the bottom, almost like smart delivery. And there was one other thing that they were pushing. I thought
what was coming to Game Pass as well. Some of those.
Oh, Game Pass. Yeah. Yeah,
I just
some
want
had
to
the Game
say
Pass.
they're all smart delivery that I can tell here, except for Scorn is not marked for that. And the Medium.
So those could make sense.
All the rest are smart delivery.
So those could make sense because they may be choosing to not even target PS4 and Xbox One, which would mean smart delivery is nothing to them. But yeah, I found it funny that they chose to like have that stand out so much, because I thought Microsoft already announced that basically every game. Oh, I guess the publisher has to buy in, right?
Yeah.
On that. Okay, so I guess that does make sense that they're pushing that a little more to make sure you know which games you can buy on Xbox One. But then that brings up another thing, like why do they feel they need to push that so much? Do they think that people are not going to be able to buy the new console when these games drop because they're going to be short?
My take on it is they're probably concerned about sales for games in August and September, maybe October, that are releasing, and people just saying, "Nah, we're gonna wait. I'm gonna get a new system. Why would I buy this now?" And so it's a way of saying, just buy it now, and you'll have it. So don't even worry about should I wait to buy this on a new console or not. So obviously,
that could be it.
There could be a different take on we want people to double dip, which has been the thing in the past. But I mean, Xbox is, I'll give them credit. They're at least pillars. One of the pillars of their new system is, or I guess even of the last few years, is value for gamers and not taking advantage of gamers and giving them the best experience possible without kind of taking their money for the sake of taking it. So, and their commitment to backwards compatibility. So I don't know. I think it's a good kind of philosophy to have. And if their games can do better than Sony games, they could have the competitive advantage in the next generation. But to me, the game's advantage is still to Sony.
Yeah, I don't know. Did we actually say what the smart delivery is? Like, it's just, if people haven't heard, it is literally what we were talking about last week with Assassin's Creed. You buy the game on current gen consoles, and then you automatically get, I guess, a digital download of the next gen version of that game for free, right?
Now, I'm assuming smart delivery would be a little careful there. As far as I know, you have to buy it digitally. If you buy it physically, you do not get smart delivery.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know.
That would make sense, I think, because if you buy it physically, it's probably not technically tied to your Microsoft account.
Yeah, and I assume that it's one ID, like one title ID, that's basically two different executables, where save games and achievements, all that stuff carries over. So I think it's more it's more similar. The way they're treating them is just like currently a game that is now playable on Xbox One S and X with kind of different data packaged into it depending on what system you're on.
That makes sense. I mean, from behind the scenes, I haven't read much of the documentation and obviously wouldn't really be allowed to go into detail, but Microsoft does have a completely new software development kit for Xbox One X that does help with Xbox One games as well. So I'm assuming that's how they're wrapping it all up. Like essentially you build it once, and it has all the versions. It has Windows, Xbox Series X, and Xbox One kind of all built into the build process. So they have been taking into account and should be pretty straightforward from the limited stuff I've seen, which is great for developers, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, just to touch on, you mentioned before, Huck, like, do they think people aren't going to be able to get the Xbox? I mean, they have kind of been saying that, right? So that could be another reason for the smart delivery, get people buying the games now. And then if they can't buy the Series X right when it comes out, you'll still have a library built up.
Yep.
And another reason would be to like. What was that?
Siri kicked on when he said Series X.
Another maybe obvious reason is to continue to sell current gen consoles. If so, they're all on sale all the time, and if you're like debating holding off buying a console, maybe you're like, well, I can buy it and play these games until I'm ready to upgrade to the next console or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, a friend of mine was talking about buying a PS4 last night. He hasn't had a console since like probably PS2. And I asked him, why not just wait, a couple months to get a PS5? And he's like, well, I could just buy this now and have it and play most of the games. And then, to him, it's like, I'd rather just play now on something that's way better than what he's seen in a long time anyways. Like if he's not up on the technology, it doesn't really make a difference to him. And then in theory, he can start getting these games into his library and then upgrade whenever he feels like it. And it makes sense that way.
Absolutely. Yep. Okay, next game. We got to start moving through these a bit faster, I think. At this point, we got I just had a comment about stay tuned for Valhalla gameplay coming up shortly. Definitely some Ubisoft, Microsoft synergy here. They a little money exchanging hands, I would say.
The love connection.
Yep. The next game was Bloodlines 2. I know nothing about Bloodlines 1.
Vampire the Masquerade, Bloodlines
Vampire
2.
the Masquerade. Okay. Seems like a little bit of a ridiculous title. I'll be perfectly honest. This game did absolutely nothing for me. I thought the Donkashane trailer and all that stuff, I thought it looked incredibly corny. I thought it honestly looked kind of last gen in terms of the animation and presentation. So, I mean, maybe there's fans of this series. Not for me. Not interested. You guys?
I also thought it was pretty bad. I actually almost got like a We Happy Few vibe from it.
Oh, me too. That's what I thought.
I was like, is this like some sort of We Happy Few 2 already, or like a DLC or something? Like it looked almost identical.
We are on the same wavelength. We're thinking the same shit.
Damn right. But yeah, it was like really dark, and it was the first section of it was like that slow, like dancing. I was like, what the hell are they trying to sell here? Like, this is the most boring, like dark, not appealing to me at all trailer. And it just was so slow, and everyone was dancing for some reason. They don't really explain it. and then they go into this like vampire section where the girl bites that guy's neck in like the dance party or whatever. And then there's like some combat gameplay, I believe. And yeah,
I just want to say the original game came out in 2004. So it's like a not very old, but pretty old game. And I mean, I wasn't even aware of the first one. So yeah.
Yeah, I was getting mixed up with, because wasn't there another vampire game that came out like fairly recently, like Vampire or something like that?
Yes. Yeah. I came out a while ago, but
it got pretty good reviews at the time, and I was somewhat interested in that. But yeah, I don't know. This one didn't do much for me either. The combat, in theory, I could see like an action adventure game where you are a vampire maybe being kind of fun, but I don't actually know if that's what this is.
It's apparently an RPG, so it's a sequel to a cult classic RPG.
Yeah, that's that Vampire the Masquerade is a tabletop RPG, so that makes sense.
Oh, the Vampire game was actually on Game Pass. I don't know if it still is. I played it for a bit, and it was like a third-person action-y type game, I think with RPG stuff as well. But it was pretty fun from what I played, and it was much more serious and less over-the-top dark than this game was. And it was much more accessible in my feeling than this game felt.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't get I mean, obviously this trailer is made for people who remember or like the original game, which is not me. So I would definitely admit it was not targeted towards me. The next was A Call of the Sea, which is kind of an artistic, looks like an adventure game. To me, I would describe it as Journey meets Rhyme. in terms of adventure games. And Huck, were you thinking that? Were we thinking the exact same thing?
Well,
again?
I was thinking it almost looked like a walking simulator, almost like Firewatch.
Yeah, I was thinking
But
Firewatch.
definitely Firewatch. Like, I couldn't tell if there was combat. Like everything they showed, it was kind of like cell shaded, almost Firewatch like art style, and I couldn't tell if it was just a walking simulator or if it was actually, you know, a deep puzzle game or if there was action elements. When they show the one section of him, the him or the her swimming with the like, you know, the almost like thing in the water hands or whatever, it almost made me think, oh, maybe there is some combat or something, but I don't know, hard to tell.
I'll say like the actual, now this had some gameplay, I would assume. Like moving through the forest, there's like a jungle and some other stuff, and like a water, like a beach and all that. Like I think it looks amazing. Like I love the visuals. I love the art style. So I'm definitely on board. I'm not a huge fan. I thought Firewatch was okay. This type of game is not exactly my favorite. But there are exceptions, like Edith Finch I thought was great. And you know, if even if it's simple challenges in gameplay, it can be done well. So I'm sold on the art style. Now it's just a matter of whether or not the gameplay lives up to it. But I thought it looked awesome.
It also has a Steam page, and it says it's an adventure game set in the 1930s South Pacific. Explore a lush island paradise and puzzle out the secrets of a lost civilization in the hunt for your husband's missing expedition. So it does sound like Firewatch. And then I just scrolled down, and it literally says that the main character is voiced by Cissy Jones, who was in Firewatch. So I wonder if she was the main female character in Firewatch, and so we'll get some serious Firewatch vibes then, if that's true.
Well, which reminds me, after Valhalla, they talked to the Dirt 5 developers, and is that where they said Nolan North is a voice in?
Yeah, I think so.
Whoo! Game changer. I'm in. Who cares about Nolan North? If anything, I'm sick of Nolan North. Like they used him in everything. Who cares?
Yeah. And I know when you play for a racing game, you come for the story and leave when the gameplay gets too heavy, right? Am I right?
Absolutely. What a joke. Get real. Okay. Sean, anything to add?
This was one of my favorite trailers it certainly seems like my kind of game. I don't know if it's showing off the next gen capabilities as much as some of the other ones, but I'm in for Call of the Sea.
Yeah, I mean, I'm preemptively in.
Okay.
Next was The Ascent, which I thought I kind of forgot about it until I'm rereading this stuff. I thought this looked amazing. It was like an isometric shooter.
All right. Now, Frank,
the lighting was amazing. This is my type of game. It reminded me of Dead Nation and maybe
wait. Stop. 1, 2, 3. What game did it remind you of? I know you already said Dead Nation. What was the next one you were going to say? 1, 2, 3.
It's not the
Ruiner.
Same.
Ruiner? No.
I don't know what Ruiner is.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I need to look into it because
look up Ruiner. It was like identical to me from what I played, except it looks like this. You have like like team members almost, whereas I think Ruiner, you're solo.
Oh, Ruiner looks pretty cool. There was an old Unreal game, not made by Unreal, but I think it used Unreal. Alien Breed or something like that.
Yes,
it reminds me of that as well. But I like these types of games. I like I just thought this one looked great. It reminded me of Housemarque or Housemarque games as well, which I love.
Yeah.
And I was intrigued by The Ascent. I'm in.
Cyberpunk Diablo is what I got out of it. Which
yes.
Are you saying that for real, or like are you reading the IGN article where it says imagine a Cyberpunk Diablo?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I guess
I'm a little surprised there aren't more Diablo. I'm a little surprised there aren't more Diablo clones in different genres. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh my, this looks so good. I think this is my favorite out of all the games.
It's interesting because I was really brought in by like the story aspects they showed at the beginning, and then when they showed the gameplay, it's not what I was expecting at all. But I mean, if they can somehow marry those two, I'm in for sure.
Oh, I love the visuals of this game and the lighting.
Yeah.
I am in. It looks wicked. All right.
And it says it also has a Steam page. It says it is a solo and co-op action RPG. So that you could play probably online with friends, which would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
All right. The next is The Medium, which is a psychological horror game, I think, that
yes,
they actually took a dive into towards the end of the stream as well. I mean, I don't know much about it. I thought it looked okay, I guess. Didn't have any strong thoughts about it. They seem to be really excited about the composer, and I've never played a Silent Hill game. Akira Yamaoka, who is the composer for Silent Hill. Maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. I've never played a Silent Hill game. Not a second of a Silent Hill game. Maybe that's a huge blind spot for me. Not even PT. I have it downloaded on my PS4. I have not played PT.
What? You didn't try PT?
I think I saw someone had that as the #1 game of the decade.
Wow.
It's pretty interesting.
Take. Or it was in the top 5 in some article I read. But yeah, I don't have a ton to say about this. You guys have any thoughts?
There wasn't much. I mean, there wasn't any gameplay, but the vibe I got was something like Alan Wake meets Stranger Things sort of idea. That was the only thing I kind of take away. And the other thing that I said, holiday 2020. So they're targeting sort of the release window, which is kind of interesting. And I thought they better start showing some gameplay soon if they're coming out in that hot window there, because no one knows what this game is.
I mean, I was reminded of Eternal Darkness for sure.
Yeah, sure. That's another good one too.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely just dropping the Silent Hill composer seems like they're definitely trying to associate themselves with Silent Hill, which could be a cool thing. I mean, I haven't played a ton of Silent Hill games, but it's been a while, right? So that could be something people are looking for.
The main mechanics seem to be something like, switching your perspective on reality, what you see in reality is actually has something going on underneath, which Hellblade had an interesting, not quite the same, but some perspective puzzle mechanics, which I'm sure this will have some similar stuff as well, switching between realities. So,
you know what? I didn't know. I didn't realize the people who made Blair Witch and Layers of Fear made this game.
Oh, they referenced both of those games. So I thought they were just referencing them because they were games, but yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so did I. I thought it was just like, it's kind of like these games, but they made them.
They did Observer as well, Hawk.
Did they?
Yeah.
Observer I never played. It's Observation.
Oh, I fucking always get that wrong. But I am familiar with Observer. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Not for me, but you never know. Next, to me, the most impressive game. Next, I guess, to the Ascent, or maybe more so than the Ascent. Scarlet Nexus. Not the best title. Action game, which looks heavily inspired, almost to the same degree of Scorn with H.R. Giger, by Breath of the Wild. It basically looks like the same art style from Breath of the Wild, including enemy design. Like the enemies and these kind of weird sculpted faces and body parts and all this stuff. It's a little more extreme, but I was definitely reminded of, what are the things in Breath of the Wild that guard, like they're the ancient things that are kind of
spidery things.
Yeah.
Guardians, aren't they?
Guardians. Yeah. It reminded me a lot of the Guardians in that game. So that's basically what I thought of, but I thought it looked pretty cool. I'm interested. How about you guys?
You know what? I didn't like it only because I felt like now I maybe I have to watch it again, but to me it almost seemed like the main characters and I guess probably the main enemies, not the main enemies, but like I guess the main enemy characters, not the fodder enemies, they almost look cell shaded, but it looked like the enemy models were like properly lit, like they were in the environment, and it was really jarring to me. It didn't feel cohesive. I don't know, like maybe I have to watch it again, but that really threw me off. Just that like visual style clash that I was having.
I I liked it personally.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, and yeah, it just sounded like to me it was like just a regular, like it almost reminded me of something like Metal Gear Solid Revengeance or something. Where it's just like a whole bunch of crazy action or what's that other game? It's not Killer 7, but I think the same guy that made that.
It looks like a platinum game, really.
Yeah.
Like,
definitely.
I would say, and I don't know. I like platinum games. I was refreshed that it wasn't like some Dragon Ball IP that or something, because it was Bandai, Namco Bandai, and they tend to always kind of be based on animes. Maybe this is based on an anime.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was based on an anime. It looked exactly like some people would know what these characters are.
But I mean, if it isn't, that's a testament to like the concept and the world building in the trailer, because it felt pretty like idealized. Yeah.
It doesn't look like it's based on an anime, but I assumed it was as well. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know. It for some reason wasn't totally grabbing me. Maybe it was like too much action in the trailer and like I couldn't totally get a sense of what it was, but I don't know, looking at the screenshots now, it looks kind of cool. So I
was reminded a bit of Nier Automata too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a good comparison.
And reminded me I need to play that game.
It's on Game Pass. Oh, I guess you probably already bought it on every system, so.
Yep. Actually, I never bought it for Xbox, so.
Kind of glad. There you go. 2 rounds of trophies.
But I'm on a PlayStation phase right now. Sorry. That game, actually, you can buy the trophies. Once you beat the game once, there's an in-game store where you can buy all the stuff you missed. So.
No way. I thought that was. I thought that wasn't allowed. I thought you weren't allowed to do that.
You're allowed, bud. What's the game I always talk about? 1 second. Touch the Mayo game or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Touch my Mayo changed everything. It was my name is Mayo. Change the landscape for trophies and achievements. It was a game changer. Next is Second Extinction, which is like a first-person shooter set in, prehistoric times or something like that. Alternate Earth, yeah, where you're hunting dinosaurs, killing those poor innocent dinosaurs for fun and for sport. To me, they clearly took the approach of at least not making the dinosaurs look like classic pictures of dinosaurs. They looked much more evil and stuff like that to avoid, I would assume, talk of things like I'm saying there. But it looked okay. It could be a fun co-op game. I don't know if it's what's it, like a Souls-like or anything like that. There was another game I played a bit of that came out last year, Remnant, which is a third-person shooter Souls-like game, but it just says first-person shooter. So it looked okay. I don't have. It's made by Avalanche, self-publishing unit Systemic Reaction. I don't know much about either of those things. So
that's not the same guys that made Mad Max, is it?
I don't know.
That Avalanche and Rage 2?
Mad Max? It must be. I'm assuming it is.
This game looked to me like they just kind of made a blow up a dinosaur into a bunch of chunks simulator and thought it was fun and then just expanded it out to a whole game. Like, it didn't seem like there was much more in this trailer except blowing dinosaurs to bits and having their, blood and guts go every which way dynamically.
Yeah, I thought it might be like a new Turok game or something, but I guess not. I don't know. Like the co-op element has me a little bit interested, but other than that, again, wasn't really a standout for me.
Watching the trailer again, it looks pretty good. I'm down. Final game. Yakuza Like a Dragon. Now, I've never played a Yakuza game. This is like an offshoot of that series, which seems much more action-based. Again, almost like a Platinum Games game, from what I could tell. I don't know. It looked good. I don't know. I don't know anything about the series. I'm kind of curious to play one of these games because they seem really popular. But at this point, I don't even know where to start. Like there's Yakuza 0 and then 6 other Yakuza games, remasters of those games. I don't even know where I would dip my toe into that water. So if listeners have a recommendation, and I do kind of want to experience it as a story, I guess, if there is one. So to me, if there's a Yakuza 1 remaster, it seems like where I'd start. I don't know. But
So I went down this rabbit hole too when Game Pass came out and they had Yakuza 0 and I played a bit of that. I think I talked about it on the show a couple weeks ago or maybe a month ago or two now. But I really enjoy it and it looked like the combat was pretty similar, maybe with like a little more emphasis on sort of like special, almost like magical moves. But the combat did seem very similar for that game. And I know that's one of the more recent Yakuza games. And the only thing I didn't like about Yakuza 0 was that there was just so much talking and so much dialogue. So maybe this game kind of lightens that up and is more heavy combat.
Well, yeah, I know what Sean's going to say. Go for it.
Well, it says on the IGN article that it's a switch to turn-based RPG-like combat. Now,
really?
Is that not what the other ones are then, or?
No, the other ones are kind of like little mini brawlers. Like they're like kind of arena brawlers. So you fight like, I don't know, 2 to 10 guys, and then that fight's over, and then you kind of walk to the next like story point or the next brawl, do that brawl, and then continue on. So yeah, no turn-based aspects at all from what I recall.
Wow, I got to be honest. Watching the trailer, I did not take away at all that this was a turn-based game.
No, neither did I.
Now it's kind of weird. The final title has Like a Dragon, and like the A is really highlighted. It's like a different color. It's almost like I don't know if when I look at it, I see like Yakuza A, like it's a new, like the first point in a new series or something like that. Where the other ones are Yakuza 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. This is using letters as a way of setting them up. So that's kind of interesting, but I don't know. As of right now, I have very little interest in it, but I know there's a lot of people. If there's that many sequels to that game, people must be interested in this.
Yeah, it's a little intimidating to get into this now, but I feel like the title, it seems like they're trying to get people to jump on if they haven't before. So
yeah, I mean, I totally agree, Sean. It's like a fresh start almost, where if they have lost other people, like, okay, this is a new thing you can start in. You've probably heard the other games are good, something like that. And this is your chance to see what all the hype is about, even though it's a totally different genre.
I was just wondering if that A is kind of like a callback to like Bruce Lee, because it kind of seems like that that art style of that A and the red is. Sorry, of course I get a phone call. That art style is kind of similar to like a lot of like Bruce Lee like iconography, but that could be just totally off. And I mean, Dragon, the movie Dragon with Bruce Lee kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they made it the last trailer of the presentation, so they obviously think it's a pretty big deal, I would say. Well, second last, right?
Yeah. So on the Steam page, it says a dynamic RPG. Whatever that even means.
Dynamic. I'm
Weird.
guessing there's like some procedural aspect to the levels or something like that, maybe?
It says dynamic RPG combat. Oh, switch between 19 unique jobs ranging from bodyguard to musician, and use the battlefield as your weapon. Take up bats, umbrellas, bikes, street signs, and everything else at your disposal to crack some skulls. So it's almost like a Final Fantasy job system that you might be leveling up or something like that.
It's kind of funny. I was semi-intrigued by this game, and everything we're talking about is making me less and less interested.
Yeah.
Job system. Woohoo! Yay, jobs. Fuck off. Who wants to play that?
Yeah.
Jobs.
Should just make Life Simulator.
Never call anything in your game a job system.
Unless you call it a job.
Brutal.
G-O-B.
All right, that was the last game. I don't have much else to say. It was a bit of a wet noodle, gotta be honest.
Well,
Sony?
Assassin's Creed Valhalla, right?
Oh, I totally.
Well, we touched on it a bit at the beginning.
Yeah, we did.
They were teasing that the whole time, and I kind of forgot. I didn't even have a note for it because I was so underwhelmed with what they showed. Yeah, I'm still excited for a new Assassin's Creed game, but I mean, the idea of, to me, that's why they've responded. Like, everyone was expecting to see gameplay for this. I don't care that they didn't, but I'm surprised that it was what it was.
Yeah. Yep, it was just a trailer. I mean, obviously, again, it was supposed to be actual stuff from the game running on the hardware, but it still looked very cinematic. So, hard to say.
I mean, Sony has always done that the best. Like, everyone should take a page out of Sony's notebook. I remember the one E3, it was someone playing God of War, and even the one before that, like, or maybe it wasn't God of War. Maybe I'm confusing things, but like, it feels like playing the game. You're getting a taste of what the game is, and I find those are by far the most effective things. There's no smoke and mirrors. There's no questions as to what this is. It's right there for you. And with God of War, even when it wasn't someone playing it, like, you can see gameplay systems. Like, you can tell that, oh, if I was based on the camera perspective, even sometimes the camera perspective, I'm like, well, if I wasn't looking in exactly the right spot, would I even have seen that? Like, it's so controlled, those demos, where Sony demos don't feel controlled at all. They feel like that's what it would feel like playing that game. And there's nothing, hitting the right points and doing everything in the proper way that they've rehearsed that playthrough a million times. I'm sure they do rehearse those playthroughs, but it doesn't feel like it when I see them.
Oh, they rehearse them.
Oh,
Guaranteed.
yeah. I know that.
I know from doing a couple pitch playthroughs, like, you play through it a lot.
Yeah.
To make sure you know that thing inside and out when it's live.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if I was Sony, I would be extremely happy. If I was prepping something that I thought had, really good stuff in it, I would be like, okay, this is our chance. We have a very good chance to win this.
Now, I mean, obviously, there are going to be more things coming from Microsoft. As you said, there's this whole Xbox 2020 thing that they're starting up, which is going to be sort of a continuing series of videos showing new things from the Series X. So, it's a starting point for Microsoft. I don't know if people thought this was kind of like the big reveal of what the next gen's going to be. And maybe they even said themselves, they probably set up expectations the wrong way for this, but there will be more coming. So,
never a good sign when you need to address concerns with a live stream you do just.
Yeah.
That means you failed pretty much. So I certainly don't think it's that bad. Like, I think there's some cool games. I'm not offended, or like, I'm not, it didn't negatively affect my opinions of whether or not I'd get this console in any way. But it was a little underwhelming.
Yeah, I agree.
And maybe
Yeah, but
maybe Sony's smart by waiting until they're ready to show like something that's going to blow people away. That might be the right move.
Well, I expect that's what Microsoft's going to do in July, and this was sort of just let's get the ball rolling, let's show something, and let's just not have one big giant drop, like around E3 time. Like, so I don't know what they're going to do for the E3 thing, but a lot of companies are coming out with an E3 type of presentation in June. I think Jeff Keighley announced he's doing something, which also ties into like live demos on Steam, I believe, or is that on Xbox? I can't remember. And then I think IGN's having an event, GameSpot is having an event. Like all these outlets are having these like game events. So it like June could be really crowded, which means I don't think Sony's going to want to show anything in June, which means now they're pushing out to July or even August, which is quite late to be showing stuff for the first time, I would say, in my opinion.
Yeah, the Jeff Keighley thing is the Summer Game Fest, which there's a whole schedule, I think, of things that are going to be shown off, right?
Yeah, so I think with that, it's kind of cool. I think you can submit your, pre-release game to Steam or whatever. I can't remember the platform. And then it's basically like a demo that's only live for a week or whatever your time slot is. And you can go and try out all the games as if you were on, the E3 show floor, which is kind of cool. But I don't know how it's going to go. Like it does add that extra pressure to developers to get those, builds ready. But at the same time, it's kind of neat. It's kind of a cool way to do it. And it kind of exposes your game to everyone, especially if it's on Steam, which could be really, really great.
It says here that May 12th, there's going to be a surprise game reveal. So that's probably like the big kickoff thing for this. So
who this is for the Summer Game Fest?
Yeah.
Jeff Keighley.
Huge. Someone's guessing possible Batman.
I mean, it's got to be coming soon. I can't believe they started teasing that like half a year ago now, something like that.
All right. Well, that's it. That's your next gen fix.
Yeah. I mean, that was a lot to talk about. So
I mean,
to have something.
We're running pretty long right now. I don't know how, do you guys want to get into stuff you played, or it's up to you?
I don't have too much to say. I'll just quickly throw it out because, Frank, you've been bugging me to play Fisherman's Tale. I did try it, but then I went back this week and finished it, and it's a fairly short game, probably under 2 hours, I think. And it's kind of a puzzle VR game. There's sort of, I don't know how to describe like the main mechanic. There's sort of a recursive element to it, I guess I would say. And I really liked it. Although when I got to the final, did you finish it, Frank?
No.
When I got to the final chapter, the final puzzle is brutal. Like it is so like you kind of can figure out what you need to do, but the mechanic is terrible. Like there's these weird things you got to pass between windows, and like the collisions just keep like blocking the stuff you're holding, and it took me forever.
Yeah, I would say that's my biggest issue with that game is like it seems to be calibrated for like a really specific setup where like there's the telescopic arm and stuff like that. And when I was first playing it, I had to be like I wasn't close enough, or I was always too far away with what I wanted to interact with, and that never really improved for me over the course of the game.
Yeah, it's a little bit finicky at times, but that's kind of how a lot of VR stuff is. The one thing I did like, which I don't know how, like again, how far you made it, Frank, but there's sort of a thematic tie between the mechanic and what the story is telling, at least what I got out of it. Like it's a little bit artsy. I don't know that I totally understood the full, like what they were trying to get across, but there's sort of this idea of you're a fisherman, but then at a certain point you're talking to your father, or at least like a version of your father in your head, kind of, and like you're trying to live up to him. And so there's kind of this idea of like generations of fishermen, which kind of ties in with the recursive thing in the game. I don't know. I think it's really cool when games can tie gameplay mechanics into sort of the theme, or the artistic message, which is kind of tricky to do. So I dug that. I'm also playing I Expect You to Die. Just started playing it, so I'll probably talk about that next week if I keep playing it. But I'm liking that as well. It's kind of a splash fun game. Yep, definitely.
And for me, I finished off Streets of Rage 4, which is a pretty short game. I think it's only 2.5 or 3 hours, maybe. I played through it with just one character, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I thought it captured basically every feel of Streets of Rage I could think of. The enemies, I played it on, I think on easy though, so maybe that was, a little bit of a walk in the park, but it was still fun. I still liked it. A lot of returning characters, some new ones. I thought it moved at like a perfect pace. I think if it was any longer, it would have felt drawn out. And I think there are hidden characters you get when you kind of replay with different characters. So I think there is more stuff to do. I won't play it again, but it was fun. It was a fun little thing, and it's on Game Pass. So obviously that's a good thing to have done. And then I started playing Assassin's Creed Unity. I know I talked last week how I've got like 4 Assassin's Creed games installed on my system. So I went back to the oldest one. This is the one that's set in France. And I started playing through that, and I'm about 25 hours in, and I thought, you know what? I don't
25
really
hours.
want to, sorry, 25%. 25% in. Yeah, and I don't want to linger in the world. I just kind of want to breeze through this game. So I've been skipping every cutscene I can, going just to main quests. And you know what? I haven't found it that difficult despite kind of rushing through it. And it's just staying its welcome well, like perfectly. And I remember when I played, I think it was the original Assassin's Creed, I remember everyone was complaining, oh, it's so horrible. And I did the same thing. I just did the main quest. I didn't do any of the little extra things, and it was fine. It was like a nice little game. I think though, if you kind of, if you pull a Frank and try to get everything, the game will just crush you, right? So if you do the bare minimum,
Assassin's Creed, I did everything in that game.
Well, I don't know. That's not for me. I can't devote. Like, it seems like, so I'm at 25%. I've probably put in maybe 4 hours, 5 hours. So, I'll get through.
Notoriously short though. I don't.
Is it? Oh,
I'm not 100% sure, but
okay. I think I did see a walkthrough that was like only 8 hours or something. So I don't know where I am relative to that. I don't know if like the later chapters kind of pick up pace, but the story progression, and I don't even know, it was the story progression that was telling me I was 25% of the way through. I don't even know if that's accurate. Like, I could be like over half the way done. I don't know. So
what I loved about that game, I didn't finish it, but what I thought was great is there was kind of this sense in Assassin's Creed that I was always just holding right trigger A and forward all the time.
Yes, pretty much.
And that one introduced this idea of B for descending.
Yeah, I like that.
Descending was the kind of annoying thing in Assassin's Creed games. So I thought that was a cool addition to the gameplay. And I don't know if that's made its way into other games since then. But I thought that was a nice addition to the series.
Yeah, I think it has. And it definitely makes the descending so much easier and so much nicer. I mean, I remember getting hung up constantly, and where you're just kind of like fighting with the controls, trying to make them do what you want. And this really improved it. So it's going well. You also could do if you hold the right trigger and B, you can like vault over stuff. So you don't really get hung up on things as much kind of in the environment, because the environments are quite dense, especially in like marketplace type environments. And it's fun. I'm enjoying it. And I don't know when that game came out, but I think it was like probably almost 10 years ago. So it's held up quite well, I think. And that's it for me.
Okay. I'll just say I haven't played anything new. I finished Final Fantasy 7 remake. I there was one aspect to the game, like do you know the ghosts, Huck?
The ghosts, yes. Yeah, the
And I'm
like
like,
Dementor, the
this wasn't,
Dementors.
yeah, they look like Dementors from Harry Potter. I'm like, what is this? Like, they kind of are the weakest models in the game, for me, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm digging this at all. And I'll be honest, I played through the story, and I still wasn't crazy about them, but I watched some videos about the ending, and I just didn't get it, and I'm pretty impressed
Oh yeah? Okay.
with the take on the game. And like for people who are fans of the series, I kind of just played it, and even then the story was washing over me. But for people who are really invested in the story, it is a pretty interesting idea, and they would show like specific callbacks and like the theories about the ending, and it's pretty good. I
Oh
gotta
yeah?
say, I remember
That's
seeing
good.
articles about the Final Fantasy VII remake is movies could learn from what a remake should be and all this stuff, and I was like, what are they talking about? Get out of here. And it's got some cool ideas story wise. So I'm sold. Now wanted to platinum this, and I'm like, oh, this game. It took me 45 hours to beat it, and that was doing everything. I'm like, I don't know if I want to like get the platinum now, but I'm like, but I'm already like, I know all the game, I know the combat. Do I want to relearn it? So I'm like, I'll do a chapter a day. I'll just chip away and do a chapter a day, and a couple weeks I'll have that platinum. That is not how it went. Playing it on hard, which is what you have to do to get the platinum, I was even more into the game. And I was
Oh
skipping
yeah?
cutscenes, and I just love the combat now. I am so into it. Uh and like using the different abilities and the triangle abilities on each character. I love this game.
Yeah.
And
I just sort of discovered how the proficiency works in the weapons.
mhm,
And I didn't realize that you had to manually control the other characters in order to get their proficiency up, and that you had to use that like special move that's specific to the weapon you're
yeah.
equipped with. So, I mean, once you figure that out, you can level them up almost immediately. But I also played a little bit more. I got to chapter 9, which is past the robot arm puzzle you were saying is brutal. And let me tell you, I ripped through that baby like it was nothing.
Mm.
It was dirt easy.
It it is so annoying. I'm not The first two puzzles aren't even puzzles. The
No.
third one has this insane perspective, which and like the controls are almost reversed. You have to do like up on the left stick, and or it's so bad. It's the worst. Disagree. Uh and if you make a mistake, like I said, it takes 5 minutes to undo your mistake. Waiting for the arm to go down to pick up Aerith and all this other stuff. It's brutal. It's the worst. Stand
I
by
think
my
you gotta I think you gotta think a little bit more before you just start moving shit all over the place.
please.
Analyze, buddy.
Please. Uh, but yeah, I'm on chapter 17 on hard mode, 80 hours in. So
Whoa, you
uh
crushed it.
I have never seen 80 hours on a video game. Never.
I've seen it quite a bit lately. It's happened a lot. I was probably 80 hours on Sekiro. Uh Hey, it's my time to shine. I got time, and there's lots of games to play, so I'm loving this. I think that's it. Anything else?
Nope.
No,
Just a reminder, check out the Twitter, Game Junk, and Game Junk podcast, or fuck, what is it?
Game Junk
facebook.com
Podcast.
/Game Junk.
Say it again. I was talking over you. Say
Facebook,
everything, Sean.
Facebook.com /Game Junk and Game Junk Podcast on Twitter. And we'll think about starting an Instagram account. Think about it.
Thinking.
And there's the Discord.
Oh yes,
Sorry?
the Discord.
Eh,
The Discord.
need to get on there more.
The link to that is on the Facebook group.
Yeah.
We should probably put that somewhere else as well.
Yeah.
All right. What a show. What a show. We've said it all. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back at you next week with probably talking about the biggest surprise game reveal of all time.
Definitely. And it's going to be our 1-year anniversary. 52 episodes. We did it, guys. 1 year straight of podcasting. Congratulations. Next week we'll have done it.
Over 10 years.
Hey, we're doing pretty good. Let's give ourselves a hand. Like, this is...
Yep. I can't believe it. We're still going.
I can believe it. I have a lot to say about games these days. All right. Well, we'll talk to you soon. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.